السلام عليكم شيخ.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. If you can
السلام
hear me.
عليكم عمر.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم. Sorry about that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعلنا منهم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا، إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا، وانفعنا بما علمتنا، وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Well, let's go ahead and continue where we left off. So we were covering some of the amthal of the Quran, and we spent a good amount of time on the one in Surah Al-Baqarah. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا. We spent a lot of time on that example end of the last class, and we'll continue to the next one today. Right, so the next example that we have is إنما مثل الحياة الدنيا كماء أنزلناه من السماء فاختلط به نبات الأرض مما يأكل الناس والأنعام حتى إذا أخذت الأرض زخرفها وزينت وظن أهلها أنهم قادرون عليها أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا فجعلناها حصيدا كأن لم تغن بالأمس كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يتفكرون. The example, the parable, the method of the worldly life is like water. And because I have ism that is nakira, I can make the rest of it sifa. Right? Water that we sent down from the sky, then the nabatul ard fakhtalata bihi. Then the plants of the earth from which people and animals eat mixed with it, mixed with the water. And they only have that highlighted, but it still continues, right? Until a point that the earth أخذت زخرفها. Basically, the earth gets and it adorns and it shows its adornments. وزينت. And on top of that, it also gives its own zina. وظن أهلها أنهم قادرون عليها. And its people, meaning the people of the earth, think that they are capable over it, over the earth. أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا. But at that moment, our command comes to the earth day or night. فَجَعَلْنَاهَا حَصِيدًا. And we turn it into like crumpled rubble, right? We make it, if they say, or leveled, as if it did not even exist yesterday. As if it did not even exist yesterday. Right, so right? So إن مثلها في سرعة الذهاب والاتصاف بوصف يضاد ما كانت عليه ويباينه. Right, so here we're learning that, well, in what way is the earth being compared to this example of, if we recap, rain comes down, plants and vegetation mix with the rainwater, and then the earth gets beautiful, it gets adorned, people think that they are able to, do things with it, right? So at that point, what Allah is, the way this scholar is describing it, this is a mathal, the example in terms of sur'atul dhahab. How quick does this earth go away? We may think, oh, I got 50 years, 100 years on this earth. Allah says, just like in one season everything goes away, or one storm, in the span of hours everything goes away. That is an example of this earth. مثل ما على الأرض من أنواع النبات في زوال رونقه وذهاب بهجته وسرعة تنقيضه. An example of all the different plants and vegetations on earth in terms of their light and their strength going away, and their beauty going away, and the quickness of their destruction. بعد أن كان غضا مخضرا طريا قد تعانقت أغصانه المتمايلة. Right? That even though these plants, they had deep roots and they were green and lush and fresh, and their deep, strong roots were there when the decree of Allah comes and Allah sends a major storm. In the span of those couple hours, right, all of that is gone and destroyed as if there was no garden the day before. وظن أهلها أي أهل تلك الأرض الآخذة زخرفها, right, the people that are maybe the harvesters and the farmers of that land. أنهم قادرون عليها أي غلب على ظنونهم أو تيقنوا أنهم قادرون على حصادها والانتفاع بما محصلون لثمرتها رافعون لغلتها متمكنون على جدادها وقطافها. Right? They think, okay, sooner or later we're going to be able to harvest. We're going to be able to take its fruits. We're going to.
The link was not available in the website. I was actually texting you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't know. It's under the class information. It's just a black screen. Doesn't show the link. Okay, Alhamdulillah. We're now here.
I think it's because it's there. You just have to highlight it. I know some of you are having this issue where it looks like a black screen, but the text is there.
So you press the right link, right button in your mouse.
So if this whole screen was dark, if I just kind of tap to copy, I'll be able to see it. So I think some of you are having an issue where I know it's a black screen and the text is also black on the screen. So if you just kind of highlight over it,
okay,
you should be able to see it. I told the admin about it, but they're not able to see that same issue. I don't know why.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Right. So the people who are, so we're talking about the ayah of إنما مثل الحياة الدنيا كماء أنزلناه من السماء, and we're just going through how this relates to what is the mathal, what is the tashbih going on, right? And we've read that this is an example or an explanation of how quickly this world goes away, that in just the span of one storm, in just the span of one disaster, a full flush garden and farm will turn into nothing overnight. فجعلناها حصيدا أي جعلنا زرعها شبيها بالمحصود في قطعه بالأصول, right? قال أبو عبيدة الحصيد المستأصل وقيل المقطوع بالمناجل, right? That we make it seem as if it's harvested. Everything is just gone and destroyed, so it seems like it's harvested. كأن لم تغن بالأمس, as if it didn't even exist yesterday. والمراد بالأمس الوقت القريب والزمن الماضي لا خصوص اليوم الذي قبل يومك. قاله الكرخي والمغافي في اللغة المنازل, وقال قتادة كأن لم ينعم, وقرأ يغنى. Yeah, okay. I'm saying it doesn't have to be yesterday in specific, but just as if it was yesterday, it looked like it was a full lush garden. Right? And again, this is the example of this life that you think a season is so long, but you may not even get to finish the single harvest crop season. Or one storm comes overnight and everything is gone. Right? This tashbih gives room for interpretation. It allows for the possibility that the simile can apply to multiple groups and in different scenarios. So that's good, right? So our author, or the in the tafsir we're reading, he was saying that this is an example in terms of the quickness of the life of this dunya, what other وجه الشبه can we draw from this? Right? Another وجه الشبه, or another way that this can apply to مثل الحياة الدنيا, is that people think that they have control or capability over just their plot of land and their crops and their vegetables and their trees, right? But even that, again, in a span of a second, it can go away, right? Because it's not theirs in the first place, right? It does not belong to them. Yes, they are the owners and they have the paper in this world, but Allah is the true owner. So people think they own, property, they own things in this world. The end of the day, it is just through the blessing of Allah, and He can take it away at any second.
The example in Surah Kahf.
Keep going. Elaborate.
The person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the garden, he thought he owns it. It will never perish.
Yeah, good. What else?
Like everything in our life, like our health, we think that we'll always live healthy unless suddenly something comes on.
Yeah. Another thing is also, if you think of وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ, that when it comes to doing good, if you wait thinking, oh, when I get the opportunity later on, when I get the opportunity to harvest, then I'll harvest, right? Then you may not be able to harvest anything. You may not be able to do the good deeds you're planning to do, because you don't know when Amrullah laylan aw naharan is going to come. So you need to take advantage and do whatever you can now. And also just a point of being good and beneficial in what you do, that if people busy themselves with those things that are weak in the first place, then all of their deeds كَأَن لَمْ تَغْنَ بِالْأَمْسِ, if they were not sincere, if they were not done for the sake of Allah, if they were not done correctly, it may look like there are a lot of deeds, but when the day of judgment comes, كَأَن لَمْ تَغْنَ بِالْأَمْسِ, as if there's no deeds at all. Let's just see if there's any.
Taghna is the root letter Ghain Nun Ya.
Ghainuna, yeah, yes. من غني بالمكان بالكسر يغني بالفتح إذا أقام، أي لم تلبث، أي لم تقم ولم تمكث. وقيل لم تكن ولم توجد. And here just a couple of things, right? To recognize tashbih ضمني, ask yourself, is there a hidden meaning? Does the hidden meaning involve a comparison? To recognize tashbihun tamthiliyun, ask yourself, is the point of similarity between these two things something that could immediately be understood by most people? And last one, to recognize at-tashbih al-maqlub, examine the context and ask yourself what the main point of focus is. Is the element that is the main point of focus coming first? If not, it is tashbih maqlub. All right, this is just a review now, and then we're done with this chapter. Alhamdulillah. Right, so the definition of tashbih, a simile, to compare, or a metaphor as well, to compare two things that share a common trait. We know al-mushabbah, we know al-mushabbah bihi, we know adat al-tashbih, we know wajh al-shabah. And then these are the types: mursal mufassal, mursal mujmal, muakkad mufassal, and baligh. Let's get into the drill. Salimati, can you do number 1?
Inshallah, I'll try. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا أَمْرُ السَّاعَةِ إِلَّا كَلَمْحِ الْبَصَرِ أَوْ هُوَ أَقْرَبُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So over here, I think the Amru Sa'a is the Mushabbah, Ka is the Ada, and Lamhil Basari is the Mushabbah Bihi. And I thought that Huwa Aqrabu could be the Wajh of Shabah. That's what I thought. It's probably
Yes.
this is Mursal Mufassal.
Yes, so this is Mursal Mufassal. Translate for us.
And to us, say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Allah belongs the unseen of the heavens and the earth, and the command of the last hour is nothing but it's like a quick glance of a quick glance of vision, or it is even more closer. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir, and verily Allah is completely capable of over everything.
Is lamh glance or blink?
I think from the dictionary I found quick look, glance, moment.
Glance. Okay, so yeah, lamh al-basar, glance of the eye. I guess, yeah, like tarfat ayn would be the blink. Okay, so again, yes, just to restate that, right? And the command, the decree, the situation of the sa'a, or the coming of the sa'a, is just like the glance of an eye, or even quicker. What are some of the thoughts and reflections, explanations that come to mind?
But in this case, is it open for interpretation once you have the wajh?
Correct, right? So the wajh gives you the way in which it's like lamhul basar. Yes. But I think what they're asking for is
Discuss your observation, reflection
yeah,
on the
I think it's discuss what
in the okay.
Right, so like basically I think what they're getting is elaborate a little bit, right? Just like the glance of an eye, it happens so quick, it's something so simple, so subtle, people aren't even going to know when the day of judgment will come. It will start in such speed you do not get to process what just happened. Like at least with some maybe natural disasters, there's an idea, people know there's a flood coming. People know there's like a hurricane or a tsunami. You could see the wave coming. People can evacuate, people can prepare, as opposed to like an earthquake, you only get like a 2-second warning, and even then you're not able to tell anybody. And this is even faster, even quicker. The day of judgment will come, meaning from when earth is normal to when it will start. Okay, Frozen, next one.
Yeah, Bismillah. تمزيء الناس كأنهم أعجاز نخل منكئر.
I think let's look this up because there's a number of words.
Yeah.
Over. The thing we need to keep in mind is إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ رِيحًا صَرْصَرًا. Right, we sent a rih. What kind of, what is, so rih is wind, and then sarsar was sarsar, shiddatul barad, extremely cold. What? Rihun shadidul barad, extremely cold. It's also said shiddatul sawt, very loud, like a howling wind. Now if we put that here, tanzi'un nas, right, that let's see, how does he say here? Right, فنزعتهم الريح منها, right, that the wind is doing naza of people, right? And so what is naza? تنزعهم أي تقلعهم من الأرض, right? نزع ينزع is like to pluck. نزع, and then we'll look at قلع as well. Right, نزع, to pull, to extract, to remove, to tear out. And then we also have قلع. Again, very similar meaning. Wrong letter. But again, to pluck and to pull out. And this is more so in terms of you're with plants and vegetation. Okay, so تنزع الناس كأنهم أعجاز. What's أعجاز? If we look here, الأعجاز جمع عجز وهو مؤخر كل شيء. وعن ابن عباس قال أصول النخل. أصول النخل, the trunks of trees. وعنه أعجاز سواد النخل, the trunk of, or the base of black palm trees. والمنقعل المنقطع, or المنقطع المنقلع من أصله, right, the thing that has been pulled out. يقال قعرت النخلة إذا قرعت النخلة إذا قطعتها من أصلها حتى تسقط. That you basically pull it out, or you rip it out, or you cut it so much so that it falls. But now here, شبههم, right? So now he's saying Allah is doing tashbih of them. في طول قاماتهم, in terms of their very high standing. حين صرعتهم الريح وطرحتهم على وجوههم بالنخل الساقط على الأرض التي ليس لها رؤوس. Right? He's saying that Allah is saying that the way people are just going to be thrown around by the wind and be thrown on their faces is like a palm tree that just comes crashing down. وذلك أن الريح قلعت رؤوسهم أولا. First, the wind is going to pull out basically the base. ثم كبتهم على وجوههم, and then it will make them, or actually here, this is the wind is going to pick them up. The wind will pick them up, and then it will smack them down on their faces.
Doesn't ru'us mean like something to do with head, like a head? Ra'is like means like something to do with like a head of the state.
Yeah, Ra's is a head.
Ra's is head, but ru'us, how does that become base? Is that a different word?
No, ru'us is just the plural of Ra's, but
Okay.
I don't think he's saying here that the wind is going to pull off their heads. I think that it's ru'us here. I think it means like they're it's being used to mean their whole body.
Okay.
Right. وفيه إشارة إلى قوتهم وثباتهم في الأرض بأجسامهم, that they are strong and grounded with their entire bodies. فكأنهم لعظم أجسامهم وكمال قوتهم يقصدون مقاومة الريح. right? That they think because of their strong, powerful, grounded beings that they're going to be in the earth. But then the wind just straight pulls them out. فكأنها أقلعت أعجاز نخل منقعر. وتذكير منقعر مع أنه صفة لأعجاز نخل وهي مؤنثة اعتبارا باللفظ. Oh, yeah, that's just okay. He's just saying why is منقعر masculine when it should be feminine. But he's saying منقعر, that's the word itself.
I couldn't find this word in dictionary. It seems like verb from 7, right?
منقعر.
There is no verb from 7 under the. So this is qaf, ain, ra, right?
قاف عين را, yeah. Yeah, but similar to these meanings where
It's a
something that,
hollow thing.
yeah, deep and hollowed out. But here in this case, as was defined, here they're defining as munqala, the thing that is then, and munqata, the thing that is cut out. So although qa'ar would mean to hollow it out, they're saying it just ripped out. It's just ripped out.
I'm sorry, I probably didn't pay attention at the beginning. How the wind conversation coming here?
The ayah before is إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ رِيحًا صَرْصَرًا
Oh,
مِنْ نَحْسٍ مُسْتَمِرٍ.
okay, I missed that. This is Surah Qamar, right? Qamar 20.
All right, so what are the parts that we have, Frozen Cool?
Yeah, Sheikh, what is Ajazu one more time?
Ajaz are the trunks or
Trunks, okay.
the base.
Trunks of the tree. Okay, got it. So Mushabba here is Tanziyun Nas. We have Adatul Tashbih is the ka. Okay. And let's see, let's compare to Musabba bihi is the Ajazul Naql.
With
Munkair.
Munkair.
Naqlin Munkair, yeah. And we have the Wajhu Shaba is missing.
Good. So
that's the Mursal al-Mujmal.
Right, so we just confirm, right? It says Mursal Mujmal. We have the Adab, but we don't have the Wajh. So Mursal Mujmal.
So in terms of Mujmal versus Tamthil, Mujmal is something that is obvious. When even though it's obvious to interpret, but Tamthil is not obvious. So in this case, how do we know this is Mujmal, not Tamthil?
I think the simple way to check that is how long is.
Oh, I see.
How long?
Usually Tamthil long.
Long. Like a sentence. One other change that I'll make is the mushabbah is not tanzi'un nas. The mushabbah is hum.
Yeah, that's what I.
Because the thing
I was
is,
thinking too.
They are like. And I know it seems very close, but technically, so even if we go back, it would be the nas. Because the a'jazu nakhli munqa'ir, how they got like that, and the naza is the same, the powerful wind. And so we're comparing what the wind does to people versus what the wind does to the trees.
Right.
This is Qamar 20. Let's just see what some translations have. That's leaving them like trunks of uprooted trees. They were trunks of uprooted palm trees. As if they were trunks of palm trees uprooted. What's this footnote? From their hiding places, okay. Here, this is a long one. It picked up people from the ground and threw them on their heads as if they were the trunks of date palms uprooted from their plantations. I guess that's an explanation, not a translation, but that's good. That really paints the picture. So if there were trunks of uprooted palm trees, stumps of uprooted palm trees, uprooted palm trunks. There's another, which tore people away and hurled them as though they were trunks of uprooted palm trees. Yeah, okay. Thoughts, reflections?
Sheikh, is this a mention of some people who were done like that?
Mm-hmm. This is which people? Ad. The people of Ad.
And they were the strongest, right? And the wind, they couldn't stand the wind that came to them.
Yeah, right. They were from the strongest, and then Thamud as well. But yeah, even though Ad was also extremely strong and powerful, and that does what? That shows how this tashbih really hits home. Because you think of a palm tree, you don't like a strong wind doesn't just take out a palm tree.
They're the one probably the most surviving trees if you have hurricane
Exactly.
type of winds coming in them.
And right, even when we were reading in the tafsir, right, you think that they're so strongly rooted in the earth that their jism, their physical makeup is that they are very deeply and strongly rooted in the ground. That's one. And number two, they're also very tall. Right? You would think that sometimes, okay, maybe a shorter tree with fat roots would be stronger, but these are very tall trees. You think that they would bend over, but even then, they bend over and then they just kind of come back, but they don't tip over from the wind, which would seem very likely. And so within this, perhaps we can say Allah is hinting at Ad were like that. They were very strong. They were very tall. They were very powerful. You wouldn't think that a wind would be able to do this to them. But the wind was so powerful that basically the destruction that you see with a destroyed palm tree is like the destruction you see with them. All right, let me
reaping of people basically mean like the town was completely destroyed, right? That's what it means. What actually Tangzi'un Nasa mean actually?
Oh, like you're saying, where are they plucked out from?
Right. When it's plucked out, what does it mean? I mean, physically, what does it actually mean? Like they blew the people, the wind blew the people away? Does it actually mean that?
Yeah, so كانت تقلعهم. I mean, these are explanations. كانت تقلعهم من الأرض فترمي بهم على رؤوس. Basically, the wind just picked them up.
Okay.
And threw them on their faces. And even here, فتدق أعناقهم وتبين رؤوس من أجسادهم. Like what Umar Sabil was saying, basically, it ripped off their heads. And like from their body. Like that's how powerful the wind was. And in other opinions, they say تنزع الناس من البيوت, that from their own houses, basically the wind would rip off the tops of their houses and they would be picked out. Even another opinion is min quburihim. The wind was so strong, people are taken out of their graves.
Yeah, that's why the Wajhu Saba is not there.
Yeah, because there's so many. In one sense, it's obvious, but in another sense, there's so many ways this can take place. even here, right? وَرُوِيَ أَنَّهُمْ دَخَلُوا فِي الشِّعَابِ وَالْحَفَرِ وَتَمَسَّكَ بَعْضُهُم بِبَعْضٍ, right? فَنَزَعَتْهُمُ الرِّيحُ مِنْهَا وَصَرَعَتْهُمْ مَوْتًا, right? That when the wind started to come, what did they do? They went into shi'ab, like the valleys, and into dug holes, and they started to hold one another so that they don't get picked up and blown away. But when the wind hit them, just ripped them all apart, or ripped them off the earth, even if they were holding something, separated them, and perhaps even split them up. And then I'm surprised Ibn Qayyim. What else was I going to say? Yeah, okay.
In terms of reflection, for in this case, can we reflect the powerful nations we have, that they're doing injustice, like what's going on now in Gaza? The people who are thinking they're powerful, is that an indication that nations should not think they're the most powerful? Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Because good, right? Who made them, and who made the wind, and who made the palm trees?
Right.
Allah. So however powerful you think you are, heck, even however powerful you happen to be, right? Because I mean, for us to say that these countries are not powerful, I mean, it depends on what you mean by that. But yeah, there's a real world manifestation of physical might and power, right? But that power is nothing compared to what Allah can do.
Right.
It is infinitely minuscule. So if Allah chose to send his punishment, you will be no different than some bark on a tree just ripped apart.
Right. I have a question. It's a offline, but since we are talking, and mashallah, if you have the alima knowledge, probably you can help. Some people ask this question, there is like boycotting. We are like boycotting a lot of organizations because they're helping Israel. Some people, they ask, like in our town, people have this question: can we boycott Saudi Arabia because they're helping Israel? But it's very difficult question, and I think to even place, because the house of Allah is there, so you don't want to boycott that land. How this kind of question can be tackled?
I think there's more detail and there's more stuff we can go into, all the politics and all that. I think very simply, if someone wants to boycott any country, Muslim or not, in theory, depending on how it's done, that can be okay. But basically, two things to note, because sometimes that question leads into, should I not go for Hajj and Umrah, right? Hajj and Umrah are basically acts of worship, right? They are acts of worship, and those will never be barred based off of those people that are in charge or in rule or in control. Because again, even think about during the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the kuffar of Quraysh that were doing jihad against him, or sorry, he was doing jihad against them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then he still went to do Umrah.
Yes.
Right. So I do want to point out a caveat, right? That even historically, when the leaders of the Haramain were evil and the rulers were evil and all that stuff, which is a lot of our history. The big difference that we see now is, now when I go and process a visa, when I go and process whatever, they're getting a cut. Whereas before, if I go on my camel and I take my own food, right, I can make it through Hajj without having given anybody money.
Right.
But today that's impossible. But what I will say is, those are not to belittle, but those are small amounts, and that if someone has that feeling of, I do not want to give my money to them, okay, you get your basic processing of Hajj or Umrah visa, right? And do your best to spend as little money there in big places.
Right.
Don't get the 5-star hotel. Go walk 10 more minutes, and basically, we would say here, you're helping a mom and pop, right? You go to the little food vendors. Don't go to the big establishments. Even here, no one's gonna say boycott, the random one-owned shop, because so go off to all the one-off shops, all the mom and pop places. Don't go to any of the big names and the big hotels. And spending your money there will if somebody feels they want to boycott, then that's how they can do it, with a relatively clean conscience.
I mean, that would be probably a little inconvenient, right? Because you're making me to stay another like a 15-20 minutes far. Some people think it's so hard to catch up the prayer at the haram. I mean, that was the reason why people want to stay close to it. But I do agree that they're like a robbing, like they're charging like a $400 per night or $800 per night. This is ridiculously crazy what they're doing.
Yeah, but again, my point, just for the basic answer, if somebody wants to boycott,
okay,
but even fine, forget Saudi and any of the Gulf countries, and either you happen to live there, you happen to visit there, then this is how that would take place. Again, think about it. Technically, we should boycott America, but who are we boycotting?
Yeah,
right.
True.
Okay,
That's true.
a big pizza chain, fine. That doesn't. I can go to the single one family owned pizza shop. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Or else, what? I'm not going to eat. What are they going to eat? And also, practically, how much of that money goes? So the point is, if someone is in the process of boycotting, right? It's the big chains, the multi-million-dollar establishments, right? Again, for example, Azizia is very far. I'm not, but if somebody, maybe that's not a good, but yeah, assuming somebody can do the 20-minute walk from the 3rd-tier hotel, right? Then yeah, that if for someone who intends to boycott, that would be the ideal, right? But
Yeah.
I'm giving the very simple answer in that regard. But to stop doing Hajj and Umrah, that the one other thing I would say on that is, if you were already planning to go, then go. This is ibadah, right? And you just limit the amount of money that you spend there. Do I need to go and buy 15 thobes? Do I need to go and get the luxury buffet? Right? No. Right? So
I mean, my problem with this, technically, you are punishing the local people also by not getting anything. So
so you go to the local people.
yeah.
Right? So you go to the little shops.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even here, right? Like, if you go to whatever a fancy, restaurant that has, like, you go to a big chain, and you don't need you have the money to pay your employees, as opposed to you go to a shop where there's one person who's the owner and he's the cook and he's the cleanup. Okay, you feel okay, maybe I'll give you a little bit more of a tip because you're a one-man, one-woman show. The same thing applies over there, right? Somebody's working in a $500 million hotel. Okay, I don't need to indulge and take care of you. Your boss should do that, as opposed to this is some guy who I can see the pot they made the food in, and I'll buy from you. You know, so keep that in mind. Where here and anywhere else.
But over there, you don't want to be indulging in foods. You have to focus on ibadah. Otherwise, you'll keep running to the bathroom with an upset stomach, and especially when you're traveling, that's not a good idea.
I mean, you get the point about managing money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but either way, you're focusing on ibadah and not spending this much money and keeping your health in shape so you can perform as many umrah as you need or you want to. Spend more time in the haram. That's why you're there for.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't need to go buy as many things.
Yeah.
Just to go the page earlier, تنزع الناس كأنهم عجاز النخل منقعر. Why is it mujmal? Because there's no wajhu mushabbah.
Yeah, with no wajh shabah. Yes.
Or wajhu shabah. Okay. So the ajaz al-naql munqa'ir is what?
That is the mushabbah bihi.
Oh, okay, I see. So the munqa'ir is not wajh mushabbah?
Because it's sifa to a'jazu nakhlin.
Oh, okay, ajaz nakhlin. Okay, got it.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I just missed it. So the whole thing, arjazu naqlin munqa'in, the whole thing is mushabbah bihi, right?
Yes, the whole thing.
Okay.
A'jazu nakhlin munqa'ir is al-mushabbah bihi. Again, when I have jumla ismiya or when I have kana wa akhwatuha, it makes it very simple, especially with kana wa akhwatuha. My ism ka'anna, or sorry, my anna, my ism ka'anna is my mushabbah, and my khabar ka'anna is my mushabbah bihi. Very simple.
Okay, but where is the mushabbah? Mushabbah is
Hum.
Oh, okay, that's mushabbaha.
Yeah.
Okay. And mushabbaha bihi using ajaz nakhlin munqa'ir.
Yes.
I see. Okay. And then when you grammatically do it, then you do ismu ka'anna and khabar ka'anna, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Umar Samila next. مثل الذين كفروا.
Yes, so مثل الذين كفروا بربهم أعمالهم كرماد اشتدت به الريح في يوم عاصف لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على شيء ذلك عنيد. مثل الذين كفروا بربهم. So مثل الذين كفروا. So what I see here is مثل الذين كفروا بربهم. Do we have to look at the previous verse because this is giving an example?
No. So here we have our al-mushabbah is الذين كفروا بربهم, and then our mushabbah bihi is أعمالهم كرماد اشتدت به الريح في يوم عاصف لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على شيء.
That means there is no adat that should be here.
There is no or actually, sorry, no. What would be better is if we say أعمالهم ك and then رماد اشتدت به الريح في يوم عاصف لا يقدرون على شيء. That would be better. So we don't have
but the karamad is not a one name, one word. So is a ramad is a different word or what?
Yeah, ramad is a word. Ramad is a word.
Oh, ramad is a word. Okay.
Yeah.
So the ka is adat.
Yes.
I see.
The way for me to know that, if I didn't know, I look it up. But also, karamadin, why is that majroor? No reason for it to be majroor. If karamad was the word.
Oh, I see. Okay. So the ka will act as a jar, and then the next one is a majroor.
Exactly. Right, and then ramad is ism nakira, and so I do sifa with the whole jumla. Right.
Okay.
What is ramad? What does it mean?
Like a dirt and sand.
I don't think I could find it in the dictionary. I might be wrong.
Or so ramad.
Dirt and sand.
Right. ما يبقى بعد احتراق الشيء, as we would say ash. So when you burn something, what's left over? Ash, yes? We know the word ash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Right, so وهو ما يسقط من الحطب والفحم بعد احتراقه بالنار وجمعه في الكثرة على رمد وفي القلة على أرمد. Right? This is what comes off from firewood after it's burned with fire. Right? So what happens? So مثل الذين كفروا بربهم, this is a new sentence, أعمالهم الصالحة أعمالهم الصالحة كالصدقة وصلة الرحم وفك الأسير وإقراء الضيف وبر الوالدين. Right? So those people that disbelieve, they do kufr and they reject their master. Their good deeds. So now we're talking about their good deeds. If they were to give money, if they were to be good to their family, if they were to help people, right? Their actions are like what? كرماد. Here he just jumps to the point. باطلة غير مقبولة. Null and void, not accepted. But linguistically, like ash. Like ash. اشتدت به الريح. Right? حملته بشدة وسرعة فنسفته وطيرته ولم تبق منه شيئا. That the wind blows, right, and will just totally spread it out. وَلَمْ تَبْقَ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. That there's nothing left. There's nothing left. If you imagine a pile of ash and you just go, pretty much all of it is gone. You won't be able to collect it. في يوم عاصف. Right? العصف شدة الريح. وصف وصف به زمانها مبالغة. كما يقال يوم حار ويوم بارد والبرد والحر فيهما لا منهما. Basically saying on already a very windy day. Already on a very windy day. And the wind blows in. So it's like ash when the wind is very harsh with it on already a very harsh windy day. So here وَوَجْهُ الشَّبَهِ أن, obviously it's not explicit, أن الريح العاصفة تطير الرماد وتفرق أجزاءه بحيث لا يبقى له أثر. Right, so that the strong wind blows the ash and separates all of the pieces, so much so there's no trace of it left. فكذلك كفرهم أبطل أعمالهم وأحبطها بحيث لا يبقى لها أثر. So just like that, because they're kafir, because they're disbelievers, that their kufr invalidated and nullified their actions, وأحبطها, and just annihilated them. So much so there's no trace left to any of their good deeds. There's no trace left to any of their good deeds. وقد بين محصله بقوله لا يقدرون.
Just a question. فكذلك كفرهم أبطل. Where is the فاعل for أبطل? Is كفر?
It's the huwa that goes back to kufruhum, yes.
Okay, I see.
Or actually, is this the wajhu shaba? لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على شيء. This is kind of explaining what it means, right? لا يقدرون مما كسبوا من تلك الأعمال الباطلة على شيء منها ولا يرون له أثرا في الآخرة يجازون به ويثابون عليه. They're not going to find any trace to their good deeds that they did in this world, in the hereafter, that they're going to be yujazuna bihi, repaid for, wa yuthabuna alayh, and rewarded for. جميع ما عملوه في الدنيا باطل ذاهب كذهاب الريح بالرماد عند شدة هبوبها. So their actions are fake and false, nullified and fleeting, just like the wind that blows a strong wind that blows away ash when it's very strong. And Ibn Abbas, he said, لا يقدرون على شيء من أعمالهم ينفعهم, right? That their actions will not be able to help them. كما لا يقدر على الرماد إذا أرسل في يوم عاصف. Just like you can't do anything with ash after it's blown away. Right? Even, I think, people, they take ash and they're able to, I don't know, use it as maybe another material to, I don't know, fortify things. Maybe they put it in their clay and the like. But it's all gone. You can't use it. There's no benefit that they get from it. This makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So what classification is this? Is it like a mursal or mujmal or what?
So because we don't have the wajh al-shabah, I mean, it depends. Do we consider لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على شيء as the wajh al-shabah? I feel like you can kind of go both ways. I might be able to go both ways.
I see.
So it could be mujmal. Maybe you could even, yeah, or mufassal.
Okay. So the mushabbaha is الذين كفروا بربهم أعمالهم, correct?
Yeah, either you take the whole thing or just a'maluhum. But yeah.
I see.
Okay, Sheikh, do the next one.
واتل عليهم نبأ الذي آتيناه آياتنا فانسلخ منها فأتبعه الشيطان فكان من الغاوين ولو شئنا لرفعناه بها ولكنه أخلد إلى الأرض واتبع هواه فمثله كمثل الكلب إن تحمل عليه يلهث أو تتركه يلهث ذلك مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا فقصص القصص لعلهم يتفكرون. So here I would say فمثله كمثل الكلب.
Yes.
So that is okay because the ka is the adad and كمثل الكلب, that's mushabbaha bihi. And فمثله, so what are mushabbaha? I'm trying to find the mushabbaha here. فمثله is mushabbaha or?
Wait, what? I thought you already said, say it again?
No, كمثل الكلب, right? So that is the mushabbaha bihi. The ka is adad, right? So I'm trying to find out mushabbaha.
مثله, the who.
Oh, okay, the who. Okay, that's the part. I thought the whole mathaluhu. Okay. So that who is mushabbaha, correct?
Yes, that who
Yeah.
is mushabbah.
Yeah. كمثل الكلب, ka is adat and مثل الكلب, and that is the mushabbaha bihi.
Yeah.
Now, the next one, can we say that is the wajhu mushabbah? Wajhu mushabbah, the in tahmil alayhi yalhad or tatruku yalhad?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is the mufassal, right? Mursalun mufassalun.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. For this, we need a little bit more background.
Okay.
Right? So وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا. So the first part is, translate up to there. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ.
وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ, that means recite to them the news which we have brought to him which we brought our signs to them, or
Yeah.
signs to him.
Good. So the first point is, this is someone who Allah gave his ayat to. Someone who received the ayat of Allah.
Yes.
Right? So they had access to Iman and belief. And here, in this case, Torah. فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. Right?
What is insalakha?
Right? كَمَا تَنْسَلِخُ الْحَيَّةُ وَالشَّاةُ مِنْ جِلْدِهَا فَلَمْ يَبْقَ لَهُ بِهَا اتصال. See if can you translate that?
What is, I don't know what is insalakha means.
So forget. So الحية والشاة عن جلدها. They do something from their skin. فلم يبق له بها اتصال. There's no connection left. Meaning they slink out.
What is al-hayyatu wa shatu?
Al-hayya is snake and shat is sheep.
Shah is what?
Sheep.
Oh, sheep. Okay.
So just like you have a snake, when it what's it called? When it unsheds, when it sheds its skin, right, you have the whole body, all the scales or whatever, but the snake is gone. It totally just slipped out. So in silach, right, and also this is it's used with the sun and moon, but basically it just slips out. So even, for example, like a sheep, you can remove all the wool and it's fine, totally separate. Right? So you can think of like shedding or totally splitting and separating. So he slinked away. فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانِ. So Shaitan then went after him. Shaitan went and followed him. فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. And so he was from those people that were lost and totally lost. And then now we get to وَلَوْ شِئْنَا, if we wanted, لَرَفَعْنَاهُ بِهَا. Right? If we wanted, بِسَبْبِهَا إِلَى مَنَازِلِ الْعُلَمَاء. If we wanted, right, we could have raised him up. بِمَا آتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْآيَاتِ. We could, because he received the ayat of Allah, we could have made him a scholar, pious, very high. وَلَكِنْ لَمْ نَشَأْ ذَلِكَ لِانْسِلَاخِهِ. But because he ran away from revelation, we did not want to do that. وَلَكِنَّهُ أَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. What did he do? أخلد.
He remained.
بالمكان إذا أقام به. And good, right? But so he remained there. But والمعنى هنا أنه مال وسكن إلى الدنيا ورغب فيها ورضي بها واطمأن وآثارها على الآخرة. He not just remained, but he fell in love with the dunya. He fell in love with the dunya, so he didn't want to work for the akhirah. وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ, and then he followed his desires. He followed his desires. Now we get to...
Is it shaitan?
No.
I would think
So like in general, the person. Okay.
I would think it's himself. Typically, hawa, when you hawahu, you mean yani of the nafs, the person themselves. Because if you follow, it doesn't make sense to follow. I mean, it's not really used to say I followed shaitan's hawa. I followed my hawa. So now we get to
but this ayah is not about shaitan, right?
No. This ayah is about this guy that got or was made aware of revelation. Left it. Shaitan went after him.
Yeah.
He listened to shaitan, and then he fell in love with this world and started following his desires.
Yes.
To very simply put, this person heard, knew, understood, was close to wahi. Not somebody far away. Oh, I never heard Quran, I never heard Torah. No. This person knew it, was well aware of it, was familiar with it. And then they disbelieved and ran away. So فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ وَصَارَ لَمَّا إِنْسَلَخَ عَنِ الْآيَاتِ. ولم يعمل بها right منحطا إلى أسفل رتبة مشابها لأخص الحيوانات في الدناءة مماثلا له في أقبح أوصافه. That he became like, his example is like a dog when he left the ayat of Allah and he did not act according to the revelation. And so he basically fell to the lowest of low, being compared to a low animal like a dog. And now what is the وجه الشبه? إن تحمل عليه يلهث أو تتركه يلهث. أي في كلتا حالتي قصد الإنسان له وتركه هو لاهث سواء زجر أو ترك طرد أو لم يطرد شد عليه أو لم يشد وليس بعد هذا في الخسة والدناءة شيء. Meaning, very simply, in both scenarios, if you were to yell at the dog, you blame the dog, rebuke the dog, or you leave the dog alone, the dog is still panting. Either way, good or bad, the dog is still panting. You know, when they have their tongue out and they're going and they're breathing hard. والمعنى مثله كمثل الكلب حال كونه متصفا بهذه الصفة أي إن هذا المنسلخ عن الآيات لا typo يرعوي عن or that's supposed to be يرعى. Yeah, something's not right about this. This is a 4-letter. Ra, Ain, Wow, yeah. Ra, Ain, Wow, yeah. Because it can't be from Ra'a because that Wow would not be the 3rd letter. The Wow would have to be. Oh, okay, here we go. Ir'awa, yar'awi. Yar'awi, to desist.
Where is it?
Family 9. So لا يرعوي عن المعصية في جميع أحواله سواء وعظه الواعظ وذكره المذكر وزجره الزاجر أو لم يقع شيء من ذلك. Right, so لا يرعوي عن المعصية, that this person will not stop sinning, will not stop their disbelief. Sawa'un, regardless of whether someone gives them mu'idha, hey, think about Allah. Someone reminds them, hey, think about the hereafter. Someone says, hey, do you want to go to hell? أو لم يقع شيء من ذلك. Or no, but you leave him alone. So just like the dog, whether you yell at the dog, eat, run, move, stay, go inside, sit, roll over, whatever, they're going to sit there panting. Or whether you leave the dog alone, going to sit there panting. This person who had access to the ayat of Allah, when they slink away, when they run away from wahi and revelation, you can yell at them and yell at them and yell at them and yell at them. Believe, believe, believe. Reminder, reminder, reminder. Jannah, Jannah, Jannah. Jahannam, Jahannam, Jahannam. Not going to make a difference. Or if you leave him alone, not going to make a difference. Does that make sense?
So the panting dog is like some dead statue just standing there, right?
No, the point is, it doesn't matter whether you tell the dog to do something or not. The dog is just gonna keep panting. Just like the sinner, it doesn't matter whether you tell him to stop or you don't tell him to stop. They're gonna keep sinning. Right? And then here,
what is the in tahmil? The tahmil means carrying, right? Not yelling. Why you are translated as yelling?
Literally, it would mean caring. قصد الإنسان له, right? I mean, let me find basically, if you تحمل عليه here, you tell the dog to do something. Is what is meant by that.
And yalhath means panting.
Panting. Right. So here, إن تحمل عليه تطرده بدابتك ورجلك. You maybe you, as he says, you hit the dog, you do something to the dog, you yell at the dog, right? Yeah. Nice. So, even then, would we consider إن تحمل عليه يلهث was that the وجه الشبه? No, because I wouldn't think that's the وجه الشبه. That's still explaining. Just
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's still explaining the dog.
It's explaining the dog, but as the وجه الشبه would be يعني في إصراره على المعصية, or في إصرار الكلب على اللهث. Right? The continuity of sinning or the continuity of panting. So this, yeah, it's
So this is mujmal then.
mujmal. Right, and then, there's any thoughts that come to mind how this relates? This is one of those examples where I don't think any of us have dogs, so we don't. This method is very theoretical for us. We don't really have, but we see palm trees, right? But we don't really spend time with panting dogs to or tell them to do things or don't tell them to do things.
So when we have a mujmal, that means it's open to interpretation. It could be a many different way of thinking about the dog, correct?
Yeah. Our book says it's open to interpretation. Another way to look at it is it's obvious, and it doesn't need to be said. So sometimes a little bit of both.
Could it be the next portion? ذلك مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا. Could that be Wajh?
No, because that's
probably not. Yeah, that doesn't really explain like
because already before the فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا is already a sign of his takdhib. So that's not adding something new. And also ذلك مثل القوم is basically saying مثله وأيضا مثل قوم الذين كذبوا. Basically, it's just extending the mushabbah. Okay.
Mushabbah is about a one person or the qawm?
Technically one person, the who, but then Allah he says right after ذلك مثل القوم. So not just the one man, but anybody like him that repeats the ayat.
Okay.
Sulaiman, the next one.
Okay, let's back from him. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس ولا يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه تراب فأصابه وابل فتركه صلدا لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين. Okay, I thought over here more than one combination going on. Okay, let's do one at a time. So I thought لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. I thought this is mushabbah, and ka is the adha, and الذي ينفق ماله رياء الناس ولا يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر, that is mushabbah bih. And up to this point, I don't see any wajh. That's what I thought.
But is this a tashbih?
No, it's not.
Yeah, even though it's not
Because yes, do we have the pieces? Yes. But is the mushabbah bihi, how do I say, is the mushabbah bihi,
Compared to mushabbah, right?
is it count, or is it a figure of speech? So like there's no thought to the mushabbah bihi here.
I mean, can you translate so that we know whether they're
Yes.
compared or not?
So the first part, believers, do not invalidate your charitable actions by man. Man is when you say patronize. If I give you money, if I did something nice for you, say, hey, remember I gave you that? Remember? You owe me a favor for that, right? That's man. Wal adha. And being harsh, it means saying something bad, harming. Kalladhi, like the one who spends his money to show off to other people. All the while, he doesn't believe in Allah or the last day. He's a kafir who donates their money. So believers, don't be like that when you give your money. If you do man and you do adha, you will be like that. But my point is, I mean, yes, I mean, it can be, but to me, it's too clear for it to be like a tashbih, where there is some imagery going on. Hey, basically, it's like saying, you know, don't be someone that kills people. Well, I use like. I use adatul tashbih, but I'm not making a compare. I'm doing comparison, but it's not really a simile or metaphor. I'm just telling you what not to do. Does that make sense?
Mm.
But the next part,
Yeah, فَمَثَلُهُ.
فَمَثَلُهُ, so that's who is the mushabbah. Then كَمَثَلِ صَفْوَانٍ عَلَيْهِ تُرَابٌ فَأَصَابَهُ وَابِلٌ فَتَرَكَهُ صَلْدًا. This whole thing is mushabbah bihi. Also لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا. So I think up to here the kasabu we can consider mushabbah bihi.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I know we have a couple new words here. كمثل صفوان. Safwan is what? Al-Hajar, Al-Kabir, Al-Amlas, Al-Salb. Right? Amlas is that's smooth. Right? So a large, smooth, hard rock. Okay.
What is salb?
Hard. عليه تراب. يعني استقر على التراب. So
can you highlight?
yes.
I have hard time to follow.
Yeah, first thing was right here. And then he's just going into other words that are similar to it. Yeah. And then عليه تراب استقر على صفوان. Right, so you have a large smooth rock. Large smooth rock, and it has dirt on it.
So Safwan means is rock.
Yes. A rock. حجر. Large. كبير. أملس smooth. صلب hard.
So it's not a mountain, correct?
No, not a mountain, not a mountain.
Okay.
It's a big, hard, smooth rock.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, right? عليه تراب, it's got dirt on it. It's got dirt on it. فأصابه الصفوان أو التراب وابل. وابل معناه مطر, rain. So this rock, you got a pile of dirt on it. Rain comes. What happens to the dirt on the rock? Before even reading, you tell me.
Washes away.
All of it is?
Yeah.
Because the rock is smooth, when the rain comes, it all just wipes away. فتركه صلدا. أي الصفوان يعني بقي صلدا، أي أجرد نقيا من التراب الذي كان عليه، وأملس ليس عليه شيء من الغبار أصلا. أجرد نقيا, it becomes clean, free from dirt. وأملس, it is smooth again without any dust or dirt on it. وكذلك حال هذا المراء يوم القيامة فإن نفقته لا تنفع. So, a hypocrite or someone who donated to show off, their scale is like a smooth rock, or they are like a smooth rock. All of their donations are piling up like the dirt on that smooth rock. When rain comes, when the day of judgment comes, empty, gone, nothing. Nothing. Right? Ibn Abbas, he says, صلدا أي يابسا جاسيا لا ينبت شيئا. Just barren, dead, can't do anything. And again we see this phrase, لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا على ثواب شيء مما عملوا في الدنيا. They will not get any benefit from anything that they earned. So even if they think, oh, I'm getting good, yeah, you may be getting things written down, but when the day of judgment comes, when that rain comes, all of it is gone. All of it is gone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The one question is that mushabbaha, the who, refers to what? The alladhi yunfiqu malahu ri'a an-nas, or?
Yeah. مثل الذي ينفق رئاء الناس. أو المان المعطي. Basically, the one that does the quality of man or adha or riya or doesn't believe in Allah, the Day of Judgment. So any of those.
But there are two comparative things going on, right? One is the person who is putting his charity in vain by doing the man and adha, and another one is the one who spends money just to show off to the people. So which one that we are comparing right now? فَمَثَلُهُ.
So it could be any.
Okay.
It could be 1, the man, 2, the mu'zi, 3, the mura'in, 4, the kafir.
I see.
Meaning all 4 of them. Same example.
Okay.
Because if I do, obviously, example 4 is the most obvious. Someone's a disbeliever, nothing. 3, someone could be a believer, but because their intention was totally off, nothing. Someone that is adha or man, well, they were a believer. They could have been a believer, and they didn't do it to show off, but their intention behind it was still very wrong. So they did ibtal of their action. So their man or adha was the thing that wiped it away.
Mm. How do you classify لا يقدر على شيء مما كسبوا? I mean, it is not a wajah, but it is not mushabbah bihi either, right?
It's part of the mushabbah.
I would think, yeah, I would think it's part of the mushabbah bihi.
So what are we comparing against it?
Well, it's a part of the mushabbah bihi.
Mm. Okay. I mean, mushabbah bihi means you're comparing with mushabbah, right?
Yeah.
So here, what kind of an imagination that I put with that who, with the la yaqdiru ala shay'in mimma kasabu?
Sorry, say that again.
No, what is the imaginary thing that I put between? How do I connect that who, فَمَثَلُهُ, that who, with the la yaqdiruna ala shay'in mimma kasabu?
Don't separate the لا يقدرون على شيء ما كسبوا from the Safwan عليه تراب.
Oh, okay. So it's part
Well,
of
actually,
that.
no, because if you think about لا يقدرون على شيء ما كسبوا, that's not, the pronouns don't match the mushabbah.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't wajhu shabah, but it's also not the mushabbah bi. It's like a clarifying point after the fact.
See, this la yaqdiruna, that means it is a plural, right?
Yeah.
And the plural of what? They
الذين.
don't have a power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With what they have earned, they don't have a power.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we referring that to? That's the point. I'm not getting it.
Oh, who are those?
Hmm.
يعني الذين ينفقون أموالهم رئاء الناس
Okay.
ويؤمنون بالله
Okay.
واليوم
So that
الآخر.
means you are comparing with that, right? So that means
all four of these. Anyone that does ibtal of their sadaqat with man or with adha or with riya or by not believing.
I see. So that means you're saying that this can be probably mushabbah bihi 1 and 2 kind of a thing, or what?
No. I think it's just separate. Let me look into it.
Okay.
I'll let us know.
Yeah, because I'm just want to see the continuation of it. Where is it how I put that imagination of lahmima kasabu ala shay, connecting more with the mushabbah bihi, the continuation, or is it another imaginary thing that I need to put with the mushabbah? That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, because I think this applies. This basically kind of just jumps back to the first part, from here to here.
Okay. So that means it just ends right there, and then maybe kind of a new statement.
Yeah, that's what I think. Let's see. Yeah, here it says الجملة مستأنفة. New sentence.
Okay, see, that's what I was asking. Okay. It is a new sentence, but it is not a tashbih.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there to help with it.
Okay.
Explain, finish it off, but yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that.
Where do you get that from? The one you're showing?
This is when you go to the Ulum tab here.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then you go to the last one, Al-Marsum, and it has Rasam. I think these were recently updated.
Does it have all of the surah? Because I know one of the other resources used to have only few selected ones.
So I think the people that made this, they either finished or they did more or they updated it. So there was some, I know maybe like a month ago, there was some recent update to this.
Perfect.
So there might be more, might be the entire Quran now, or just updates to what was already there.
And this is awesome.
Yeah, this one is really beautiful.
Somebody would be spending a whole lifetime to do this.
No, this is all computer generated.
Yeah, it's
I know.
yeah, that's what I was reading. It's computer generated.
Is Corpus Quran has that
Yeah,
too.
that's
It's
what I was referring to.
it's from the same place. From the
Yeah.
same place. This isn't a separate. Okay. So because this is not technically grammar, or like this is grammar, but the tashbih is not in that section. They don't pull that up here. Unless we get Yusuf bin Ashur tell us.
Sheikh, can we take a break?
Yeah,
We have another class after this.
but I was just gonna we can take a break now, or we can just end class maybe like 7-10 minutes early.
Okay, sure.
Does that work?
Ji,
We'll end at basically 10:50 instead of taking a break. Is that okay?
ji.
So here, okay, فالتشبيه تشبيه مركب معقول بمركب محسوس. Here, basically, this is something tangible that you can see and feel. ووجه الشبه الأمل في حالة تغر بالنفع ثم لا تلبث إلا تأتي لآملها بما أمله فخاب أمله.
Allah.
No, that's a typo. إلا.
Oh.
It's a typo. What he's saying, what is the comparison point here? Amal is like wish, hope, and desire. As we would say, maybe in like tamanni, right? Raja, hope, desire. That when I donate, I hope I get reward. So here he's saying the amal fi halatin taghurru bin naf. You're deluded, you're deceived, thinking that this individual, this disbeliever, this person that patronizes people will get benefit. ثُمَّ لَا تَلْبَثْ. But the naf does not remain. إِلَّا تَأْتِيَ لِآمِلِهَا, except that to the one hoping, what comes to that person? بِمَا أَمَّلَهُ, what they think they're going to get comes, so they see it, فَخَابَ أَمَلُهُ, and then they see it all washed away. ذلك أن المؤمنين لا يخلون من رجاء حصول الثواب لهم من صدقاتهم. Just like that, believers should never stop hoping that they are going to get the reward for their sadaqah. When you donate, when you do anything good, when you pray, when you smile, hope for reward. ويكثر أن تعرض الغفلة للمتصدق. Right? ويكثر. Yeah, and it's very common that when people they do something good, in this case give charity, that they just forget, or they become heedless. They forget the reward Allah will give to them, and they will just think about this worldly life and will think, oh, you need to give something back for me. You need to get something back for me. So he's saying, if your hope and your focus is on the reward of the hereafter, you will never come back and say, oh, where's my benefit in this world? Where's my benefit in this world? But that only comes when your focus is on the hereafter. That only comes when your focus is on the hereafter. Right? Maybe another way to think about that is, for the example of that smooth rock. If someone is not thinking long term, they will think, look at all of this beautiful pile of dirt, on this rock. but they're not thinking about how do I protect it and maintain it. Whereas someone who's worried about their future, even if they have a small amount, they will think, before I get more, let me protect it. Before I get more, let me safeguard it. Let me build a barrier. Let me build a wall. Let me make sure that it will remain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? And then he says, لا يقدرون على شيء ما كسبوا أوقع موقعا بديعا من نظم الكلام تنهال به معان كثيرة. Right? That this was placed in such a beautiful way in the sequence of the speech that it leads to multiple other meanings. فهو بموقعه كان صالحا لأن يكون حالا من الذين ينفق ماله رئاء الناس. So the way it's been placed, it is good that, or it makes sense, it is valid that this is the hal of the one that spent their money showing off to other people. But then for our point, فَيَكُونَ مُنْدَرِجًا فِي الْحَالَةِ الْمُشَبَّهِ. And so it's been included into the scenario of the one being compared. Of the one being compared. Meaning, what is he getting at? Basically, مثله or مثلهم الذين لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا كمثل صفوان. Does that make sense? If I were to rewrite that, he's kind of saying فمثلهم الذين لا يقدرون على شيء ما كسبوا كمثل صفوان. We okay with that? Okay, for next week, just finish off this drill. So that's page 26 in page 27 for homework. Good. Any other questions?
I have one question. This may not be. I don't know if this is from a hadith that could also be related to tashbih, like the Rasul says, like لا تصلي صلاة الوتر كالمغرب, right? Like, could that be considered something as tashbih?
Okay, there's no imagery there. It's not getting at. Yeah, there's no imagery there.
Not just a simple, like, a command that says that from the Rasul says do not pray Salat al-Witr like the Maghrib prayer, right? That means don't make two tashahhud like the Maghrib prayer and stand up. That means pray 3 rak'ah continuously, and then or that's number 1, or number 2, pray 2 rak'ahs tasneem and then an additional witr.
I mean, there are hundreds of ahadith about witr, and if someone gives an explanation, then they're giving an explanation from their own self. So all the examples you gave can be pushed back against. As in, you could just say don't, meaning recite something in the third. So pray the same way, just make sure you recite another surah in the third, and you also do qunut in the third.
But is there Raf' al-Yadayn prescribed before raising your hands and making a qunut? Before the ruku', that's what I mean, not after the ruku'.
What was that? Say that again.
Raf' al-Yadayn, like when you raise your hands, or you after you, like because I don't see Hanafi scholars like from Asham or Egypt or Syria pray with it like this. They pray 3 rak'ah continuously, but some do the qunut before or after the ruku'. They don't make the tashahhud, and they don't do Raf' al-Yadayn if they do the before the ruku'. They just say Qul huwallahu ahad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad, and they start Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, and then they go in ruku'.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I mean, again, there are multiple ways of praying witr. And the ahadith for witr. So many people they read 1 or 2 ahadith and they think they know witr. But even the abwab in just Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim themselves, people they haven't read all of them, and they think they have an idea of what witr looks like. But they're just basically self-deluded because they haven't read all of the different riwayat, nor do they actually know Arabic well enough to actually understand and make a legal conclusion, nor do they know how any of the Sahaba prayed witr or any of the Tabi'un prayed witr. Right? So a lot of times that's people with very, very little, YouTube, Google knowledge make sweeping judgments about many people. Again, witr can be prayed in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of ikhtilaf, and again, a lot of those go back to the earliest of scholars and the tabi'un.
But how come I only see this practice in Southeast Asia? Like in South Asia, I don't see these practices in other Hanafi countries, like Jordan, Syria.
Yeah, because a lot of times their methodology is sometimes different in the sense that they due to commonality and a lot of overlap with Shafi'i brethren, sometimes they take opinions from outside of the madhab. That is very common in the Hanafis of like Egypt and Syria, due to the heavy overlap with Shafi'is. Whereas if you go to places like Turkey, the Hanafis there are very on the mufta bihi of Abu Hanifa alone, not even the rest. So that's why different flavors of any madhab in different areas is going to look a little bit different. If you look at the Hanbalis of Saudi Arabia versus the Hanbalis of like Kuwait and the Hanbalis of UAE, they're going to look different. You look at the Malikis of Medina versus the Malikis of Morocco versus the Malikis of Mauritania, they're going to be different. Right? Just like you look at Abu Hanifa versus Abu Yusuf versus Muhammad versus Zufar versus the dozens of other students, they're going to be different. Alrighty. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanallah bihamdik, nashhadu billahi la nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Sallallahu ta'ala ala khayr khalqi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Aman tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmiddin. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
I got one more question just to add up. I noticed that now these days, many masajid in Southeast Asia are correcting the issue of not praying witr like Maghrib, like they pray Shafa and witr or 3 rak'ah continuously without the tashahhud.
I mean, but you're saying that as if that is wrong. That is something that has been done and is known through a hadith that is a way to pray. Again, you're just using one hadith without knowing hundreds of other hadith on the topic, and you're also interpreting it in a very specific way, but your interpretation has not come from hadith.
So where does the interpretation of like doing the Raf' al-Yadayn before the qunut and praying with 2 tashahhud and standing up like the Maghrib prayer come from?
From all the other hadith about witr.
Yeah, but of course, like me personally, I wouldn't pray Salatul Witr in that manner because
But again, you don't your Arabic is already so weak. You have not studied Sahih Bukhari, you have not studied Sahih Muslim, right? You don't know every hadith of witr on the topic. You don't know the aqwal of the Sahaba on the topic. You don't know the aqwal of the Tabi'un on the topic. Right?
Of course, if I was leading people, I would definitely not pray witr that way because they will.
But you do not serve as a hujjah. Like that's like a 5-year-old saying, I would not recite Fatiha. Like who cares what that 5-year-old has to say?
Right, I understand.
right? Like someone can be like, I would not pray this way like Abu Hanifa or Imam Malik. Who cares? There are tabi'un who are like, oh, this is what that sahabi does. Who cares? A sahabi and you are no comparison.
Of course, I understand that. I'm not making that comparison about myself. I'm just saying, like, if I were to pray with her, like 3 rak'ah with like the Hanafi way, like then if I were to pray, if I were to lead the salah with the Jamaat, then of course it will cause a lot of upset among people.
Yeah, but
Or
that's separate. But again, what's the need for saying that? Your role and status is not of that your opinion in this has any weight at all in any scenario ever. You see what I'm trying to get at? Like there's
yeah, of course.
no significance to that. That's the thing. I wouldn't lead in a blue shirt. Like who? So what?
I guess people take things a bit too literally, I guess.
Yeah, and also people think that they're more important than they are. Feel like I'm not going to play in a blue shirt. Who cares? If you don't want to, that's you. That's not a. Someone's like, oh, I'm not going to pray in a blue shirt. Like, who do you think you are that you saying that means something?
Yeah, I get.
Right? It's just what have I learned and what have the scholars in my area told me, because I am not a scholar. That is the way we should take. If we go beyond that, then again we get into self-delusion and thinking that we know more than we do.
Yeah, I've heard even some Hanafi scholars from South Asia even say that it's not permissible to pray with her like Shafa and witr.
Yeah, again, there are a hadith to allude to that.
But there's hadith that contradict them that says that the Prophet ﷺ prayed in 2+1 as well.
Again, and there is jarh and ta'dil, and there is hadith criticism that can go on in those, and there are the opinions of other Sahaba that say otherwise, that you take it like that. I'm saying there's a lot more to this discussion than just, oh, I heard this and I heard that, right? Again, it becomes a very childish, ignorant thing for someone to just be like, oh, this is what I heard and they're right and they're wrong. This is like for someone to not know Arabic and to not have studied the difference of opinion from a hadith to get involved in this and to have be opinionated about this is, again, like a 5-year-old who thinks I'm not going to pray like this because of that. Like you don't know anything, the 5-year-old.
Yeah, I understand that though, because when I was in a Nafrid masjid the other day, like the Imam prayed with her like the Hanafi way, and then a couple of other Arab brothers were saying, oh, you prayed with her like the Salat al-Maghrib and this and that. So he found a fatwa from Egypt, and the Egyptian fatwa said that what he did is permissible, but he should pray continuously 3 rak'ahs instead of the 2, the tashahhud.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of difference of opinion on this topic.
Yeah. So you would say that the right thing to do is just to leave it to the scholars, right?
Yeah, if whoever is the religious director of your masjid, ask them what would be best.
Yeah. Like for instance, if I were to lead it like at like a Hanafi masjid, like I would pray with her like the same way I always lead at ICOI, for instance, like with Shafa and with her. I wouldn't pray in 2 rak'ah 2+1, right? I could still do that, right?
Again, that's something for you to talk to the scholar of that community and to figure out what would be.
But there's no scholar or like an imam of like a particular masjid in my area. Like if I go to Tustin masjid, there's no sheikh there, like a scholar anymore.
So you ask Sheikh Farhan, who's still in charge of a lot of the religious decisions there.
I thought it was Sheikh Muhib now, is the sheikh.
I know he does Quran class. I don't know if he's the. So then you ask Mazhar uncle, who should I ask to determine what should be done?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really make those decisions. He doesn't really care about what happens. He leaves it to the
No,
sheikh.
but I'm saying who should be the one to ask? Who should be the one to ask? He's not making the decision. He's telling you who should be the one which scholar would be making that decision.
I understand. Is Sheikh Muhib going to be leading their Tarawih prayer as well too, or no?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Should the Quran be read very fast? Because like I had that was a pretty big issue last Ramadan. They were reciting the Quran really fast. And like I would recite, like I would read a little bit slower. And like of course a couple of people were to tell me I read too slow. But I don't read too slow though. I'm sure you've heard me though.
I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
again, this goes back to the same thing of speak to the people that are in charge and the scholars there.
Yeah, I guess I would just take the scholarly opinion over just a few people, even if they lead, I guess.
Yeah, so go and talk to Sheikh Farhan and say, how should this be done?
Yeah. I mean, he just says just do what you're doing is fine. That's what he just tells me.
So there you go.
Yeah. I guess just a couple of people like to cause issues there, I guess.
And don't be the one to cause issues back.
No, I don't.
Just like they're arguing, don't be the one to argue back either.
Yeah. All right. Jazakallah.
Yeah.
Salam.
Thanks,